Commander Bligh and his 327th Star Corps squad had been dispatched on Felucia and were to protect a small bunker from Separatist forces. Clunk was manning the control station, so they were still within contact of the Republic, whereas Fritz, on the other hand, was the sergeant of the mission and was driving an ATTE, along with Piston, who was the eyes of the vehicle, as he was giving Fritz directions of what was up ahead. Suddenly, Piston spotted a small tank in the distance heading towards them at quite a fast pace. He placed his binoculars on his side so he could get a clear view. As he did, a giant blaster ball came whizzing from the tank towards them. It then became clear it was a Separatist invasion. The blaster suddenly penetrated the right side of the ATTE, causing Piston to topple over his safety bar and fall straight in front of the vehicle. Fritz was panicking as he could hear blaster fire, but he was no longer receiving orders. ATT was taking heavy damage, and his eye, Piston, had suddenly stopped giving him directions on where to move and fire. Fritz decided he'd better check it out, so he contacted Bligh, who was with Clark and the rest of his brothers, and there was a small Separatist base trying to invade them. So they gathered up their troops and prepared for attack. Fritz then grabbed a blaster and ran out to the lookout platform, but just as he got there was no sign of his brother, but there was sign of a Separatist vehicle attacking his ATTE. Fritz braced for impact, and the entire front of the ATT was blown to shreds, and all that was left of it was a smoky pile smashed of metal. As the front wheels were obliterated, there was no support for the vehicle, and it toppled forward, crushing Piston beneath it, and Fritz never found out how he died. The vehicle was on fire and no longer usable, and Fritz was out cold on the floor, crushed by a platform of metal. Separatists saw this and considered him and the rest to be dead, so they continued on to find Bligh and the bunker. Suddenly, the base door came flying off its hinges and took loads of clones along with it. Clunk had to leap off his chair and take cover behind his monitor, which was now on fire, and he grabbed a blaster from the floor. The others, including Bligh, were taking Seppies down as quick as they could, but their numbers were going down fast. The droids' numbers, on the other hand, were getting bigger, and 5 clankers came tumbling down suddenly, and it was Fritz. He was injured, as you can see by his limping and clutching his stomach, but Bligh stood up and caught the droids off guard, taking a bunch of them down. But suddenly, quicker than a blink, Fritz was vaporized, and the entire base, along with the good majority of the clone unit, was annihilated from a giant impact of the massive rocket launched straight from a Separatist tank. From the looks of it, Bligh thought it was over. The explosion had killed half of their clones, and there was now only 5 survivors left. Commander Bligh, Clunk, Razor, Slaps, and Pullback. They were the only survivors and were up against 4 Seppi tanks, along with an entire battalion of droids. Along with their troops, their weapons were also running thin, and there was only blasters and a small turret on the left side of their base left. They split up, with the Bligh going to the top of the cliff to snipe off droids from below. Clunk and Pullback went up the front lights, and Razor controlled the turret. Together, the team of 5 clones began to push the droids back, but they weren't having any of it. The clankers didn't want to be destroyed by 5 clones, so they unleashed all of their power. They sniped Bligh from below, using all 4 cannons to destroy the cliff edge. Bligh was hoping that he could scramble to his feet quick enough to escape, but that was not to be. And before he could get off, the cliff collapsed and fell to a smoky pile of rubble. He was clutching to the very edge, probably holding on with 2 fingers, but then a droid spotted this and shot him in the hand, making Bligh fall to his apparent demise. Bligh was shot and fell into the rubble, most likely meaning he was dead. Razor, on the other hand, had to quickly take down as many droids as he could, as his guard Slaps had left him to get supplies. But then never returned, most likely meaning he was dead. There was now only Clunk, Pullback, and Razor, and they were struggling. They'd lost all communication devices, had then been blown up to smithereens inside their base. Victory was further than the eye could see. Pullback and Clunk managed to sneak aboard one of the Seppi's tanks, but doing so, they lost another soldier. Pullback managed to climb aboard the vehicle, shooting the B-1 driving it, but Clunk didn't make it aboard. As he was helping Pullback pull him safely into the tank, Clunk got shot and his leg fell off, and he fell to the floor. He was shot about 1,000,000 times by the droids, and he was clawing at the floor, but eventually he shut his eyes for one last time. Another soldier down. Now their victory was nigh on impossible, as there was now just 2 clones remaining. They tried their best taking Separatists down, but Pullback eventually met his fate. He jolted back in his seat, and the Separatists managed to shoot him in the head. His body fell onto the self-destruct button, causing a giant impact as the droid, along with Pullback's body, was vaporized from existence. Razor knew his fate was approaching, and finally he was shot in the chest and his body collapsed. The droids had claimed a victory on Felucia. The clones had lost.
Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger.
If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to Topster. Bye!